Okay, here we are in Thimphu, Bhutan. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Okezwe Bell. I'm the founder of Fidutam, here as a speaker in partnership with the Fab Foundation, and I'm also an incoming freshman at Stanford University.
And you are also doing research at Harvard Medical School between the ages of 15 and 16.
Yeah.
You figured out nerve signals, better algorithms for detecting them, which allowed for a cheaper, more effective prosthetic arm.
Yes.
But that's not the achievement you're most proud of. Please explain more about Fidutam and the scale of it.
Yeah, so Fidutam is essentially a very dual organization. We're a registered public benefit corporation that's working at the intersection of both development and policy to push for more responsible tech to be deployed. So we have around 1,300 student volunteers working with us. We're working on corporate advocacy and stakeholdership efforts. We're working on all sorts of the political spectrum, some of the highest levels of government, advocating with them. And then we've actually developed and deployed a microfinancing app for the unbanked that's reached over 1,100 people. And we're just so proud to see this solution flourish. We're actually finalists in the MIT Solve competition. So definitely go vote for us there if you haven't already to win the community award. But we're just really excited to be receiving this type of recognition and hopefully garnering more students and working with the Bhutanese government to scale our application here as well.
What's a huge life lesson you've learned? You mentioned that you failed in your first iteration of Fidutam.
Yeah.
So it's important to know that even somebody who seems like a genius to a lot of us tried and failed, and you actually said, no, that was great. I had to recruit and let people go. But in the process, we all learned so much. And do you want to elaborate on that idea?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things you can ever learn is to just put yourself out there and really start with any type of solution. Fidutam was a completely different idea before it became what it was now, and we had a lot of hurdles to overcome in terms of removing people from the team, adding people back, changing the idea, pivoting, all sorts of stuff. And so it was definitely a living process, and it definitely still is, but it's just an amazing experience to be able to see it come full circle and see it develop like this, and now to be here in Bhutan potentially working with an entirely new government. It's such an exciting work to be at the forefront of this type of movement, and so grateful for the whole experience, both the good and the bad.
You did a great job educating us about a social problem, at the same time describing the addressable market.
Yeah.
Do you want to describe the idea of Alice, who the unbanked are, and did you say it's about 2.5 billion people? Am I right? 2.5 billion people out of 8 billion is the potentially addressable market of your organization.
Yeah, so there's a ton of unbanked people around the globe. ALICE is actually an acronym that stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained but Employed, and it's essentially a word that describes a majority of people who work but are still below the poverty line, and a lot of these individuals are actually unbanked, earning less than $5 a day. And so it's a huge market to address tons of people and tons of capital lost by having all of these people be excluded from the financial economy. And so right now what Fidutam does is actually partner with financial institutions to have our users graduate from our application to opening up formal accounts. So it's a win-win on all sides, having financial institutions gain more customers, unbanked individuals go from unbanked to banked, and then of course we make our revenue as well to support other operations. Very exciting work.
You said some interesting things about funding. You're not looking for investors right now.
Yeah, so right now we're actually not looking in the VC space. Actually, we've been majority focused on gaining philanthropic funding and also working with our revenue. That's not to say if you're a VC to not reach out. We're definitely looking to raise a round in the near future, but first what we found is that we'll probably be more successful in doing that by creating a proof of concept and having some paid pilots done with our revenue model to prove its efficacy and really have a starting point to work off of for VCs, because we know that profit is paramount. And then, of course, we are also looking for philanthropic funding. We've secured actually one of the largest operating budgets of youth organizations globally. We actually are the largest youth-led corporation globally. So it's just very exciting to be able to drop these types of the largest, the biggest, but ultimately what's important is really partnering with foundations, organizations, nonprofits that are aligned with our goals and willing to scale and help us do that.
If somebody's watching this, you wanted them to know, if they're a young person, that you are still open to hiring more people.
Yeah.
What's the pitch? What kind of talent do they need? What kind of a mindset do they need? Do they need to be a programmer? Do they need to know how to code? What are you looking for in the people that you most need?
Yeah, so we're really looking for anyone who's very interested in sort of this problem and responsible technology more generally. We're looking to actually launch our education sector. So here there have been so many partnerships that are opening up for Fidutam to scale to new environments and schools to educate them about this topic. And we're of course also looking to expand our network. Hopefully we'll we'll hit 2,000 students before 2023 is up, maybe even 3,000 or 4,000. We've had some exponential growth in just 1 week, garnering these 1,300 students. So there's no doubt that we'll be able to gain so many more volunteers of this nature. If you're also able to program, that's an invaluable skill that we'd love to have on our team. And of course, if you're interested in policy, technical development, or helping us grow, those are our 3 main sectors currently, though we also have some open director positions, which we've posted on LinkedIn for social media engagement, among other areas. So definitely go check that out and follow FIDUTOM on all platforms to stay updated.
How many of these positions are paid?
Yeah, so what we actually do is we've had a student network of complete volunteers, meaning that, there's no monetary compensation when it comes to it. But what's nice is that actually, depending on your level of contribution, FIDUTOM does have the working budget to be able to offer stipends to some of our biggest contributors, as well as potential prizes, scholarships, and awards to our most devoted members. So if you become a part of the FIDUTOM community, there are an innumerable number of benefits that will come out of it. With some recent funding, we're also going to be launching some in-person, fully paid trips, all expenses paid, so you'll be able to come with us, do weeks of action, coordinate with some of the largest corporations in the world, and really just support our efforts, though, in person. So it's going to be an amazing experience for all of us. And of course, we'll also allow you to facilitate and host your own events if you're working in education with FIDUTOM. There's just so many opportunities for you beyond just earning money. I think this has a much more philanthropic goal, and it goes a step further, and I think it'll be a lot more rewarding. Even if you do win a stipend, the work that you're doing will eclipse a lot of that.
Now, youth. Define youth.
Yeah. So youth, I mean, I don't want to put bounds on age. I think if you're anyone who's interested in contributing, we'd be happy to have you. Of course, if you're not a student, it won't be a part of our student network, but we have a lot of administrative openings, as well as opportunities to have advisors who are from industry. We have a robust advisory board that we're always looking to expand. And furthermore, we are also, of course, looking to penetrate with philanthropic investors as well. So if you happen to be one of them, or you're well connected in that space, we'd love to have you. There's really no bounds on what levels or types of contributions you can bring to FIDUTOM. So all are welcome, though for our student network, we're optimizing for people who are in college adjacent, high school adjacent, things of that nature.
There are a few more questions that I got to ask.
Yeah.
A key one that a lot of us were wondering when you were up there. You described the prosthetic arm and figuring out better algorithms for detecting nerve signals for amputees. You're having an impact on, potentially, on a universe of 2.5 billion people. One of the big steps forward was creating a way for people to have a digital identity that previously did not have a verifiable identity. Am I getting it right? Am I using the right words?
Yeah.
Okay. And a lot of this was enabled through a SIM card and blockchain. And you're even developing a way in places like a smart Fab Lab, or can it be any Fab Lab, where you're developing a way that even somebody without a phone can access your services.
Yes, definitely.
And I'm thinking that also part of the market that you're going to be helping market a need is refugee communities, people that have lost their identity. Or do you want to describe anything about that?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So we actually are currently serving undocumented refugees through our application, and there are definitely going to be so many more, which is why we're coordinating with NGOs. Of course, I'm an ambassador for the United Nations, particularly the United Nations Association, among a couple of other branches. So I regularly get to be involved in some of these frameworks / nonpartisan political discussions surrounding how we can use technology to address a lot of these vulnerable or displaced communities. And so I'm very, very excited to hopefully be able to partner with a lot of these large-scale NGOs to be able to continue expansion and support more individuals like refugees. They're difficult to come by in terms of sourcing users, but there's so many people who are in need of a solution like this, and working with these types of organizations will definitely propel us forward. So if you're a refugee serving organization as well, definitely hit us up. We have so many different stakeholders that are involved in this, from indigenous communities to farmers to climate practitioners, so many people from a broad spectrum of occupations and fields. So really any organization that serves any type of vulnerable community, definitely hit us up when it comes to our most recent, or the first of hopefully many products that come out of FIDUTOM.
And whether it's at home in the United States, which is where a lot of these first deployments were, or in Latin America or in Africa, are you also in some Asian markets?
Yeah, so we're actually expanding to Asia currently. We have a ton of students on our team who are from India. And of course, we've recently secured some student representatives from Bhutan as well. And we were able to speak to someone who's currently holding office in Bhutan, or whatever the correct sort of term here is, but is definitely in a huge, powerful position of government and policy. So very, very excited to scale to South Asia and hopefully East Asia soon as well.
So whether you're in the United States, other parts of the Americas, Africa, Asia, anywhere in the world, could you briefly describe what the user experience is? If I can summarize, somebody can, through their phone or soon through a device other than a phone, get a digital identity, even if they lack other forms of identification. They can get a small loan, which is something like $500.
Yeah.
These are very small.
50 to 100 actually, yeah.
50 to 100, thanks for the correction. All right, 50 to 100, zero interest, but you got to pay it back in a year.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that one of the ways you get around regulatory hurdles that a financial institution has is you're sometimes working through a proxy. Is that right?
Yeah, so we partner a lot with nonprofits on ground for them to be able to distribute our funds. It makes it a lot easier for us to be able to deploy anywhere. So if you're a nonprofit who's interested in this type of work, definitely also contact us. Basically, anyone can contact us at this point. There's just so many opportunities for collaboration with Vidutom, especially since we're not only working on developing a product, but we're also working as an advocacy organization. So yeah, just definitely be in contact. There's so much work to be done.
And this is important. So the source of the funding, where does the money come from?
Yeah, so we are funded by organizations like Prudential and one of SoftBank's sort of conglomerate foundations, as well as 10 cities and more. And so we have a pretty high operating budget right now of around $250K, but we're using that to deploy a lot of our capital and fund operations. So right now we're actually seeking other investments from philanthropic foundations and other corporations that will help us continue to scale. And of course, we've received support in a variety of other ways, so it doesn't always have to be monetary. It can be with devices or with user sourcing. There's just so much support and so much help in so many ways that you can help and support as well. So
and back to the end user experience. So if somebody gets this small loan of $50 to $100, can you describe like roughly what percentage is? How many of these little loans have been made again?
Yeah, so there's been over 1,000 loans that have been made to, again, over 1,100 individuals. So we've had definitely over that 1,100 mark. And so
what? 100% repayment?
Yeah, 100% repayment rate as of now. So
and most of them use it to what? Scale up a cottage industry, literally.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So they use it to resell. They use it to start their own businesses, pursue new job opportunities. They're using it to make money and mobilize upward in so many ways that are completely sort of unimaginable to someone who may not be facing financial hardship like myself or other stakeholders in this process. So it definitely is a really exciting time for Vidutom to see the types of impact and sort of self-sustainability that these communities can foster. And user experience is pretty simple. You just install the SIM card sort of add-on to your original SIM card, place that in your phone. You gain access to this application that interfaces directly with WhatsApp, so you don't have to learn any new technology. And from there, you can start interacting with the bot that performs the operations on the application. So take your selfie image, we encode that into a digital ID, and then we can attribute the microloans to that digital ID. So you have your identification, you have your microloans, you have your upward mobilization opportunities through
How does the money
our on-ground presence.
Is it cash that ends up in their hand?
Yeah, so it can be cash with these nonprofits that we're working with, though if the user has access to digital payment services, we can also send it over to
like
them.
an M-Pesa?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then they repay the money back through the electronic app or through the local charity?
Yes, exactly.
And what now to take through finish the story of the end user experience, what you've now done is develop basically a credit history.
Yeah.
You've almost vetted these people as credit worthy. And now here's where, if you're more of the business minded kind of person, you might realize the brilliance of this. You can now turn them over as leads to banks that would love to have more customers.
Exactly.
You get a small percentage. And this is how you could turn this into a social enterprise.
Exactly, yeah.
Which has clearly a social mission, banking the unbanked, helping them move up the economic ladder. But also, you will be able to make enough money to be economically sustainable without relying on the charitable sentiments of people.
Exactly, yeah. So we're launching, it's the Vidutom Financial Institution Partner Program, or FFIP as we like to call it. And this will allow us to, have people graduate from our application to open up these formal accounts. And It's an excellent filter for banks. It's a win-win-win situation, like I mentioned, and it's just a great model to ensure that we don't have to siphon any of the profits that already financially vulnerable communities have made for themselves, and that we're also systemically solving this problem of banking the unbanked by actually having them go from not having a bank account to truly having one.
It's an elegant solution. I think these are the two last questions. One is petty and small, but sometimes meaningful, and the other is very profound.
Yeah.
I hope. All right, so here we go. Break down the source of the name.
Yeah, oh, that's a good question. So,
Fiduciary?
Yes, yeah. So it does have roots in Greek and Latin. I was combining two words that mean safety and security. And fun fact, I've always wanted to go back and find which words I used, and I have not been able to find them. So the name remains a mystery, I guess, but that's maybe the intrigue of this organization.
Well, fiduciary, fidelis, loyalty.
Exactly.
Tom will have to look at, I know in the Polish language,
it's
Tom,
the end side of another word, so you might not be able to find it because it's like the latter half of the original word.
I was going to offer it to anybody who finds this amusing. Tom in Polish means there.
Oh.
So loyalty there. Like remote loyalty.
Yeah, you know what? That works. Maybe that we'll have to change our name story to that so that we don't just have to say like, oh, we actually lost where we got the name from. But
we could, if you're out there and you're watching this, if we use this part of the clip, put it in the comments. Do some Googling.
Yeah, exactly.
Look it up or do some online searching. Now, here's what I hope is the profound question. A lot of us that heard your presentations were gobsmacked because to be doing research on better algorithms for detecting nerve impulses for prosthetic arms between the ages of 15 and 16 at Harvard Medical School is already a pretty good life achievement. And then you got the microcredit network and the advocacy work. Can anybody be like you?
I think so, yes. I think I personally...
What do you see other people doing differently? You must notice around you people that are not doing as much. Mm-hmm. What's your advice? If you could candidly pull them aside and say, bro, if you want to do more, or sister, or gender neutral pronoun, if you're anybody out there, what do you see other people doing differently that you're doing?
Yeah.
What do you see them not doing that you do?
Yeah, I think the big thing is like really just putting yourself out there and having an unwavering dedication to something to where your creativity, your perseverance outweighs any sort of barriers or stipulations that might arise. I think that's one of the biggest things is really having that drive to push forward and doing something that you're so invested in that when you're supposed to be having fun, you're doing it because you're truly interested in it. I think that's when you realize that you've really found your dream area.
Your calling?
Yes, exactly. And I think that even beyond that, a lot of students, are afraid to get rejections and are so concerned with this idea of going to a great college. But if you really chase the thing that impassions you, like the path will follow really well.
You didn't always have this kind of a global network or global recognition.
No, exactly. And I also started off doing things because I was really concerned about, I want to go to the best college or just have like the name associated with my own or have this brand. But over time, it made me realize that the clout and the accolades are definitely not what you want to chase. And I don't think wanting to go to a good college is really an accolade or clout chasing. It's more so you want to set yourself up for opportunities. But I know that a lot of students also are just very concerned with getting visibility and recognition. And I think those vanity measures can be inherently harmful, and they're what causes so much unnecessary and toxic competition between students in general. I think that instead what we should do is we should all focus on finding something that really makes us passionate. It doesn't even have to be something that always has this philanthropic mission or helps people, but it's just something that you are intrinsically invested in, and when you do that, results will follow.
A few daily hacks, because plenty of people think they know what their mission is. Maybe they get distracted. Do you have a confession? Do you just ban yourself from using social media, or what other distractions? Do you have fun? Do you set certain limits that you see other people not absorbing? Like, do you basically set a limit of, 5 minutes a day of social media and no more?
Actually, I'm not too stringent about things like that. I think one thing that I pride myself on is having a great work-life balance, if you will, which is essentially I always make sure I get my things done. I think if you optimize for completing tasks correctly, meaningfully,
do you have a priority to-do list?
Exactly. I have a to-do list for every single day. I have a ton of calendars, a ton of Notion documents and things of that nature. I stay very organized when it comes to my digital and physical files. And I think that helps a lot in just being productive. One thing is that, I try to keep my phone away from me when I'm working and stuff of that nature. Just try to eliminate distractions. And when you think about it, you're working for what? Even if you're working for 5 to 10 hours in the day, there's always going to be some other time where you can catch up on social media or talk to a friend that's calling you. It's not the end of the world if you miss that one call or that one outing. So just learn to make sacrifices on things that in the long run, you're not really sacrificing anything. But in the short term, it might feel like, you're giving something up that's so meaningful, when in reality, you're not. Like, I still have excellent connections with so many of my friends, and I'm building new ones for college as well. So
do you have hobbies or any way that you goof off that
oh yeah,
you don't mind
absolutely.
talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I play tennis. I love going out with my friends. We drive around and do fun stuff. Other than that, I read books. I like playing Fortnite, surprisingly, still. It's awkward to admit that on camera, but
no, I think it humanizes you.
I guess, yeah. I haven't played recently. Okay, so no one clown me, but it's definitely just being normal, but also being exceptional in the areas that you're very invested in. I think are two things that never have to be mutually exclusive, and things that people should really work towards, and something that I'm continuing to work towards as well.
We might close with this. I asked how you start and end the day.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I share that?
Yeah,
or do you want to say? How do you start and end the day?
Yeah, for sure. So I wake up, pray, put on hyaluronic acid and Curology, or sometimes I do that at night. It depends on when I have to do it. Hyaluronic acid, it's just good for your skin to make it like reflective. Like, if you see, my skin's pretty reflective because the hyaluronic acid makes it retain moisture. Definitely got to stay young. I already have these big bags under my eyes and don't want the wrinkles to show up anywhere else, right?
We'll do a side-by-side comparison. No, you're doing okay.
Thank you. But yeah, definitely just doing all of the things that keep me fresh, brush teeth, take a shower,
It's
and
funny
then
you mentioned this.
Yeah,
so such simple routine daily maintenance, but the thing that struck me is that you pray, and I need to be better about some kind of a meditative practice.
Yeah, for sure.
How long do you pray in the morning and the evening? Do you want to disclose? Are you a member of organized religion?
Yeah, so I'm a non-denominational Christian. I go to a church that's in my area every Sunday. So yeah, most people who know me know that, my Christianity is definitely an important and informant part of like the work that I do, very invested in helping others and having an altruistic mission. I think that's something that's really core to Christianity, and I think it's unfortunate that a lot of people have been driven away from the religion because of, bad actors who pervert and use the religion as an excuse to harm or abuse other people, when in reality we know that's not the doctrine in any religion, let alone Christianity. So definitely recommend it if you're looking for a religion. I don't know if that's...
And how many minutes in the morning, how many minutes in the evening?
Yeah, I think like 10 minutes, around 10 to 15 minutes.
Enough.
Yeah, I tend not to pray for so long, but it's just a great thing to do in the morning, of course.
And the general tenor, do you recite like the Lord's Prayer, or do you do sort of a more, let me list all the things in my mind that I'm grateful for, or hope for? What kind of a flavor does it take?
It's definitely more of a reflective prayer where I'm like praying about things I want to happen or things that have happened, less so of a memorized or recitation.
Less of a recitation, that's what I was getting at. And then how much of it is sort of like hopes for the world, hopes for yourself, versus specific targeted prayers for like other people or a certain goal?
Yeah, I mean, if there's something that's bearing on my mind, I definitely pray for other people, but generally it's just like praying for safety, security, family, future, sort of like the general things that people tend to want to happen in their life, and also just remaining close, keeping religion close to my heart as I move on to college, making sure that I stay grounded in my values and ideals. But yeah, it's really all pretty regular, and it's definitely exciting it's definitely funny to know that a lot of times people don't really get to have a normal and balanced morning. And I've certainly been a culprit of this, waking up, going on laptop, then go to meeting, then you take shower and do all of that stuff. And I think it's just nice to, at the very least, get up, brush your teeth, bathe, something that I have been a huge proponent of always doing.
No, exercise isn't in there.
Yeah, no, I definitely do exercise throughout the day. I actually love going on bike rides. And I do go to the gym, though more of the time I do more active things like running or biking. But as I head to college, when I can't do as much of that,
you got to keep it going, keep the oxygen.
Yeah, I'll probably end up gymming a lot more often than biking around. But
even 5 to 10 minutes of a jog or push-ups just to get the oxygen moving,
exactly,
the blood moving,
and to keep those joints nice and flexible.
This is the voice of experience. Yes, and start stretching early. I never got
exactly.
But I hope that helps. In case if we use this clip, anybody who watched you and was in awe, start the day like everybody else. But maybe the thing that a lot of us forget to do is that meditative practice, whether it's a prayer or something else. I think that is a life hack that I've picked up from you and that I might try to emulate.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely recommend it.
I was watching, I'm like, how does he get into that state he's in? He's confident, he's calm, he's delivering so well. This man is clearly centered. And I'm like, okay, I need to ask him that question of what in his daily routine gets him in that zone.
Thank you.
So, look, if there's anything I can ever do to help, let me know. In the name of anybody watching this, thank you for sharing as much as you have. And I hope this helps you find the resources and the people that you need.
Yes, thank you so much, and it was great to talk to you guys.
From the, what are we calling this? The Fab 23?
The Fab 23 conference, yeah.
Fab 23 conference, Thimphu, Bhutan. We're blessed to be here. We're fortunate to be here. And we're blessed that you guys have watched as much as you have. And thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.